Hey guys, Adam here, and welcome to another On the Couch. So I said that I was going to do reviews on two other shows, Star Wars Rebels and the first season of True Detective. Unfortunately, yesterday I got stuck with some homework, and I was just not in a I was in a fuck all mood yesterday, so I just didn't bother. But I'll try and get one of those reviews done today. But for now, I'm going to talk about Gotham. I liked it better than last week, but it's still about on par as last week, where it was definitely a little underwhelming compared to the pilot. So the plot is vigilantes going around killing corrupt officials, very dirty people, whether it's businessmen, cops, priests, whoever. This guy's just killing them. He's killing them by making them float up into balloons, and after a while they pop and fall to the ground, splat. And the villain's called the Balloon Man. And the episode's called the Balloon Man. And I do like it more than I did last week. But again, it's in terms of overall enjoyment, it's still about on par. Here's why. Mostly because they are. In this episode, they are kind of throwing shit in your face. They are definitely, like, the first scene is, and I'm gonna go in a bit of spoilers, but I mean, whatever. Cobblepot finally makes it back to Gotham, and they just show how, for whatever reason, all this horrible, corrupt shit is going on in his peripheral vision. I mean, you got kids pickpocketing, you got a mugger, you got a cop extorting money, you even got hookers. In that order, about in that order, and I'm just going. There's no fucking way none of that shit happens all at once. Even in Gotham, there's no way. The scene was kind of saved by just Cobblepot saying home. I'm thinking, okay, that was funny, and that's what I really liked about this episode. Is the humor is top notch in this. The humor is a bit morbid, but I kind of like morbid humor. It's morbid. There's some morbid humor that I enjoy, and this has plenty of good humor in it, especially morbid humor, which I'll get into a little later. But yeah, and I kind of get why they're just showing how corrupt Gotham is, and like Gotham's corruption is really, really in your face in this episode. Most because that is why the Balloon Man is doing all this stuff, is because corruption is rampant. But you don't really need to have it all in your face with that. I mean, it's not really necessary. Also, one other thing I didn't like was. And I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, I'm not a fan of blatant references. I'm not. I do like nice, subtle references. References that are really, that few people can get. I mean, it's something that Marvel is actually very good at doing in terms of their references in their movies, is being able to make them subtle for comic book fans. For the fans and not just the general audience. Gotham is really kind of just throwing it out there, like, especially with the Bruce Wayne scenes. The first scene they showed was him just learning how to fence with Alfred using canes, and it was actually really nice seeing these two like spar and just look like they're having a bit of fun. Even though Alfred's still being a hard ass, but it's still fun. But then it goes on to Bruce going, "Oh, I don't want to eat because I'm focusing on being a detective." Blah blah blah. I'm thinking, okay, now yes, we get it. He's gonna become Batman. We know. And they're really just kind of throwing it at you, and that's not for this show. I mean, yes, at this point we're going to expect that, but pull it back a bit. Just pull it back. I mean, and that's one thing they kind of did well with with last week, was that some of the references weren't as bad as like the pilot. I mean, there were still some that weren't really that good, but it wasn't as groan worthy. But yeah, I mean, there were some things about it that just wasn't. Some references that I just didn't really particularly care for. But there was one scene I kind of liked with Bruce, and it was at the end when the cat. Spoiler. I'm actually going to go in a bit of spoilers from here on out. Bruce is watching a news report. They just captured the balloon man, and he's having a discussion with Alfred. And yes, again, this is a blatant reference, but it is a nice little nod to his no killing rule. Is that he basically said that the Blue Man was no better than any other criminal because he did kill. And you know what? I did kind of like it because it does show that while last week Bruce was rocking out the thrash metal while drawing disturbing pictures, at least he has a moral compass. At least he does. But I thought it was nice just because of his interaction with Alfred. It was really well done. And of course you got Gordon and Bullock again. Well, there wasn't enough of them together this time. The scenes they did was really well done. And it goes back to the humor. The humor between the two are really good. Like, there was a part where they're going around looking for their guy, and Bullock's just going around beating the shit out of people. He's just playing bad cop, basically. He's the one talking to hookers, wooing them into information. Then it cuts to them in a parking garage, beating the shit out of somebody, and then it goes to him basically forcing a guy to give him a wrap, some food, and at first it looks like he's just being given food because it's like, okay, you gave me information, all right, but you also have to give me food. And he walks away, and Gordon says, "So what did he tell you?" And he goes, "Nothing, I was just hungry." I like that. That kind of humor is pretty funny. There was even one humor where one of the corrupt guys, one of the Balloon Man's victims, gets after they reveal that the balloon will eventually have to come down, which we all knew. One of them it then cuts to an old lady with a dog, and she just stops in the middle of the road, and all of a sudden, and of course I know what are the odds of this, a corrupt cop starts, they show the corrupt cop finally falling and just falls on the lady. They don't show him actually landing on her, but then it cuts to their bodies. I'm thinking, oh my god, that is fucking hilarious. I mean, I was in my room laughing my ass off over that. That is how funny some of this humor is. And of course they also introduce Sal Maroni, played by David Zayas, and I'm a huge Dexter fan. I really am. I mean, I haven't watched like season 5 onward, but I need to. But I really am a fan of David Zayas, and him as Sal Maroni, not a bad choice. I really liked him in this. I could believe him being a mobster. I mean, I've seen him play villains before, and he does a very good job. Cobblepot's starting to get a little creepy. Really creepy. He was murdering motherfuckers this week, like just left and right. And of course, Selena Kyle was only in one scene this week, but thankfully no like blatant Catwoman puns, Catwoman references. I mean, that was nice. There was even a Shadow reference. Now, that was a nice little nod to Batman's publication history. I really liked that. For those of you who don't know, the pulp magazine hero. The Shadow was Bob Kane's main inspiration for Batman, and they did a really nice nod to it. I mean, it kind of looks blatant, but they do throw in a very nice subtle reference if you like really pay attention. If you're a Shadow fan, you're gonna really notice. And again, I have to say it again, Renee Montoya fucking sucks in this. I can't stand her. I cannot stand her. And again, she goes back to Barbara's apartment just to be the jealous ex-lover. That's all she is. That's all she is in these scenes. And not to mention, she's breaking and entering into her house. Like, how'd you get in here? It's like, I still have the keys. That still gives you the right to just walk into an apartment you're no longer allowed. What the fuck? I mean, someone tells me she's just as corrupt, because then she like kind of threatens Barbara with smoking weed, and I'm not gonna go into my own beliefs about that, but. And this is the thing about her. She has a huge tendency to jump to conclusions. Like, she actually goes up to, early on, she is told by Fish Mooney that Gordon was the one that killed Cobblepot. I mean, if you've seen the first episode, you know he didn't. And she and her partner Alan then go straight to Gordon and said, "Oh yeah, by the way, we know you killed him." And again, we know he didn't. And he even says, "Look, I didn't kill him." I mean, he didn't say like why he didn't kill him or exactly what happened, which is understandable. But she's a fucking detective. She should be able to tell when he's lying or not. And he's not lying. I mean, he's omitting things. But he's not lying. I mean, it's all just because she's fucking jealous of the fact that Barbara's not with her and is with him. That's it. And it's really just annoying. And she's annoying. She has now gone to the point of being my least favorite character. I do not like her. And they even tried to have her kiss, Barbara, and I'm just like, bitch, you haven't done anything to deserve that. I can't care. I cannot care. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like two hot women making out just as much as the next person, but it doesn't work here because I don't care. And again, she goes on saying, "You deserve better than Jim Gordon." I'm like, so who do you want her with? No, I would pick Jim Gordon over you any day of the week because he's not an annoying little bitch. Oh God, I don't like her. I really don't. God, I'm trying to think now. I don't know. Wow, I'm trying to think of what else to say without giving too much away. Like I said, some, the, now here's something that, I can't remember if I mentioned it in the pilot review, but Gotham feel like it's supposed to take place in today, but at the same time it feels very, very timeless. There are moments where it feels like you're like when they're showing a news report, and I'm saying it now, the news reporter in this is Summer Gleason. It feels like you're watching a news report from the 80s and 90s. It really does. I mean, hell, the TVs they show is just like that. And you know what? That's one thing I loved about the animated series was its timeless feel. I mean, it looked like it took place in the 30s and 40s, but at the same time, you weren't entirely sure because they had like some really modern stuff in it to where you couldn't believe it took place in the 30s and 40s. And same thing here, like, it could take place in the 80s and 90s, but at the same time, you know it kind of doesn't because they got cell phones and shit. But who knows, it could. But yeah, that's, God. That's about it, really. That's all I can really say about this episode. And wow, 17 minutes in. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and give my final score because, like I said, it's better than last week's. I mean, I even like the villain in this. I mean, even though he was supposed to make way for, basically be the guy that makes references for eventually Batman. That's really what he was. But you know what? I liked him a lot better than I liked the villains last week. But yeah, final score, like I said, not better, slightly better, but at the same time, I feel like it's still on par with last week's and still not as good as the first episode. So I'm going to give Gotham episode 3, The Balloon Man, a 7 out of 10. I'm still enjoying it. I really am, and because again, it's the chemistry between Ben McKenzie and Donald Logue that's really keeping me glued to the show for right now. Hopefully they'll bring more and add, definitely give us more things to watch instead of just more Batman references. Yeah, I'll be back later with my review for Star Wars Rebels. Until then, I will see you guys later. Bye.